Now I'm doing my top 50 favorite actors and actresses. And coming in at number 50 is Scarlett Johansson, who is one of my favorite actresses, of course. And of course, I first saw her as Black Widow in the MCU movies, and she did a great job. But I've also seen other movies like The Prestige with her in it, and she was great in that. And just recently, she was in Jurassic World Rebirth, which even though I didn't love the movie, I thought she was pretty good in it. So yeah, Scarlett Johansson is my number 50. Coming in at number 49 is Mark Ruffalo. Now, just like Scarlett Johansson, I also first saw him in the MCU. However, he's also been in other movies I really liked, like Collateral, and the most recent movie I saw with him in it was Zodiac, which I really liked him in it. He was also in Mickey 17 and The Addams Project, so yeah, Mark Ruffalo has become one of my favorites over the years. Number 48, Timothy Chalamet. Now, Timothy Chalamet is not an actor I necessarily grew up with. However, I obviously really liked him in the Dune movies. I also really liked him in A Complete Unknown, which is my personal favorite of his. So, yeah, Timothy Chalamet, I think over the years definitely could shoot up my favorite actors once I see more movies of him. But for now, he's number 48. Number 47, Sylvester Stallone. Now, I haven't seen that much of him, but from what I have saw from him, I really like him. Of course, he played Rocky in the Rocky series. He was also Rambo. He was also in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I thought he did pretty decent in that. And he was also in Samaritan, I believe it was called, which I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I thought Sylvester Stallone was the best part. So yeah, I really like Sylvester Stallone as an actor, and he's number 47. Number 46 is someone who I never thought I would like more than the other ones, but that is Jeremy Renner. Now, Jeremy Renner, obviously just like Scarlett Johansson or Ruffalo, I first saw him in the MCU, and I like Hawkeye as a character, but I've never been like a big fan of the character. So I never thought I would ever like him more than like Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson. But then, after seeing movies like Tag and more recently The Town, he shot up this list, and I can now safely say he is one of my favorites. So yeah, number 45, Daniel Craig. Now, Daniel Craig, I haven't seen that much of him in it, but from what I have seen from him, I really liked him. Of course, he played the detective in both Knives Out movies. I really liked both those movies. He was also James Bond in the most recent era, which I only saw Casino Royale of the James Bond Daniel Craig movies, but I really liked Casino Royale. So yeah, once I see more Daniel Craig movies, I definitely could see him cracking my top like 40 or top 30 even. But for now, he's number 45. Number 44 is Kurt Russell. Now, I first saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as Ego, and I liked Ego as a villain. I didn't adore him, but I liked him. However, in the past year, I saw The Thing and Miracle, and Kurt Russell was the best part of both films, and both movies were just great. So yeah, Kurt Russell has become one of my favorites. Number 43 is Sigourney Weaver. Of course, she played Ripley in the Alien franchise. She was also in Avatar. She was also in Holes. She was also in Dave. And yeah, so Sigourney Weaver is definitely one of my favorite actresses, and she is my number 43 in terms of favorite actors slash actresses. Number 42 is Margot Robbie, my second favorite actress. So there's one actress I like more, but I mean, yeah, Margot Robbie. Of course, I first saw her as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, which I thought the 2016 Suicide Squad was a terrible movie, but I liked Harley Quinn in it. But after seeing Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad, obviously those movies were much better, and I liked Harley Quinn a lot more in those movies. But she was also in Barbie, which even though I didn't love the movie, I still liked Margot Robbie a lot in the film. And the role, though, that cemented her on this list was The Wolf of Wall Street. She was amazing in that movie, and that is why she was my second favorite actress and one of my favorite actors slash actresses overall. But my favorite actress and number 41 overall is Rebecca Ferguson. Of course, she played Elsa in Mission Impossible 5, 6, and 7. She was also in the Dune movies, and of course, she was great at both. So even though I haven't seen that much of her, because of those two roles alone, especially Elsa, she was able to crack my top 50 overall. So yeah, Rebecca Ferguson is my favorite actress. Now, the top 40. Number 40 is James Caan. Now, I first saw him in Elf. I really liked James Caan in Elf. But after seeing movies like The Godfather and Misery, that cemented him a spot in my top 40 actors of all time. So yeah, he's one of my favorites. Number 39, someone who's definitely been one of my favorites for a long time, Liam Neeson. Of course, he played Qui-Gon in The Phantom Menace. He also played Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. He also played Good Cop, Bad Cop. But the role that really cemented him on the list was his role in Schindler's List. Of course, Schindler's List is a really depressing movie, not a rewatchable movie, but it is a great movie, and his performance was just incredible. I also really liked him a lot in Taken, so yeah, Liam Neeson is one of my favorites. Number 38, Val Kilmer. Now, when I was originally doing this list, I actually originally wasn't going to include him, but thinking about it, Val Kilmer really is one of my favorites. Of course, he played Batman in Batman Forever, which I didn't love the movie, but I thought he did a good job. Of course, he played Iceman in the Top Gun series, and he was great. However, my favorite role of him was playing Chris in Heat. I absolutely love Heat. It's one of my favorite movies, as you'll see later in the video. And I loved Val Kilmer in it as well. And I mean, yeah, like Val Kilmer, I think, is a great actor. I think he had a bit of an underrated career, and he is one of my favorites. And rest in peace to Val Kilmer. He was amazing. Number 37, Marlon Brando. Now, Marlon Brando, I haven't seen that much of him. In fact, I think I only saw 2 movies with him in it. But he was so good in it that he already made my top 40. I first saw him in the original Superman as Jor-El, of course. And even though he barely had any screen time, he was obviously great in that little time. Of course, he played Vito Corleone in The Godfather, which is obviously the role that really cemented him as one of my favorites. So yeah, I bet once I see other movies like On the Waterfront and Apocalypse Now, he could definitely climb higher. But for now, from what I've seen him, he's only number 37, which is still very good. Number 36, Robin Williams. Robin Williams has been one of my favorites for a long time, and I just think Robin Williams was just an amazing actor, and I also just think he's one of my favorites. Of course, he played Genie in Aladdin, which in my opinion is the best voice acting performance. He was also in Dead Poets Society. He was also in Good Will Hunting. He was in the original Jumanji from the 90s and Insomnia. And yeah, he was great in all of the above. And yeah, Robin Williams was just an amazing actor, and he is one of my favorites. Now, number 35 is Gene Hackman. Now, of course, he played Lex Luthor in the original Superman movies, and I thought he did a great job, and I think he's easily the best Lex Luthor to date. And of course, he was also in Unforgiven, which, I mean, he was just incredible in Unforgiven, and that is my favorite movie with him in it, and it is also just one of my favorite movies. So yeah, that role alone was able to cement him as spot in my top 35. Number 34, Tom Holland. Of course, I really like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. No Way Home is just my favorite Marvel movie overall. And, I mean, I just thought Tom Holland did a great job. He was also in Uncharted and Onward. So, even though I haven't seen a lot with him in it, from what I have seen, he's obviously just a great actor. And he is my number 34. Number 33, Jake Gyllenhaal. Staying in the topics of Spider-Man. Of course, I first saw him in Spider-Man Far From Home as Mysterio, which Mysterio is one of my favorite Marvel villains. Of course, he was also in films like Nightcrawler and Zodiac, which I think he was just amazing in those films. He was also in Ambulance, which I really liked him in Ambulance. So yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal I think is an incredible actor, and he is my number 33. Number 32 is Ian McKellen. Of course, he played Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was also Magneto in the original X-Men trilogy. And, I mean, I just think he's just a great actor. Of course, his role as Gandalf is really what cements his spot on the list. So yeah, number 31, Paul Dano, a film actor that obviously I discovered relatively recently. I mean, of course, the first movie I saw him in was The Batman, which I absolutely loved that film, and I absolutely love his interpretation of the Riddler. He was also in The Fabelmans that year, which I am disappointed that he got nominated for neither of them at the Oscars, because I think he did an amazing job as in both films. So yeah, even though I haven't seen that much of Paul Dano, from what I have seen, he is an amazing actor, and he is one of my favorites. Now we have made it to the top 30, and coming in at number 30 is Ralph Fiennes. Now, Ralph Fiennes is someone who just recently became one of my favorite actors. Of course, I first saw him as Voldemort in the Harry Potter series. I thought he did a great job. And then he was in Schindler's List, which I thought he did a great job. And I really do think he should have won Best Supporting Actor over Tommy Lee Jones. But the film that cemented his spot in the top 30 is Quiz Show. Quiz Show is just an amazing film, and his performance in that is just phenomenal. So yeah, Ralph Fiennes has become one of my favorites, and I think he's just a legit actor. Number 29, Samuel L. Jackson. Of course, he played Mace Windu in the Star Wars prequels. Of course, he played Frozen in the Incredibles movies, and he played Nick Fury in the MCU. And I mean, I just think he's a lot of fun in the films. He was also in Jurassic Park, which I thought he was a lot of fun. But the two movies that really cemented his spot on the list were Django Unchained and, of course, Pulp Fiction. And I just think his performance in Pulp Fiction is just amazing. And, I mean, yeah, like, I just think Samuel L. Jackson's a lot of fun. And he is my number 29 when it comes to my favorite actors. Number 28 is Christopher Lloyd. Of course, he played Doc Brown in Back to the Future. And, obviously, he did a great job. He was also in 8 Men Out as one of the villains who paid the White Sox to lose the World Series. I thought he did a great job in that. And he was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where even though he was a side character, I still really liked him a lot in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So yeah, Christopher Lloyd has become one of my favorites over the years. Now, coming in at number 27 is Ving Rhames. Now, I first saw him in Lilo and Stitch as Cobra Bubbles. I thought he did a pretty decent job. But obviously, after seeing the Mission Impossible franchise, which he was excellent in, and he did play Luther, and Luther is my second favorite character in the franchise behind Ethan Hunt. And seeing him in Pulp Fiction, I mean, he just became one of my favorite actors, just like that. So yeah, Ving Rhames is an actor I really do like, and he is one of my favorites, and he is number 27. Number 26 is Michael Keaton. Of course, he played Batman in the Tim Burton movies and in The Flash. Of course, he also played Beetlejuice. He was also Vulture in the Spider-Man Homecoming. He also played Ken in Toy Story 3, and he was in Birdman. And yeah, I think Michael Keaton is just a legit actor. I really do like Michael Keaton a lot, and he is one of my favorites. So yeah, Michael Keaton is number 26. Number 25 is Josh Brolin. Of course, I love Thanos as a character. He's one of my favorites. And Josh Brolin was also in No Country for Old Men and The Goonies, and he was just amazing in all of the above. And yeah, I mean, I just love Josh Brolin as an actor. I think he's an amazing actor, and he is my number 25. Number 24 is Robert Pattinson. Now, I haven't seen that much of him, but from what I have seen, he's just amazing. Of course, he played Batman in the most recent Batman film. He was amazing. He was also in Mickey 17, which I loved him in Mickey 17. He was also in Tenet, which I really liked him in, and he played Cedric in Harry Potter, which he did a great job. So yeah, Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor, and he is my number 24. Now, coming in at number 23 is Hugh Jackman. Now, he used to be higher, but over time there are actors I like more. But that doesn't change the fact that Hugh Jackman is still one of my favorite actors. Of course, he played Wolverine in the X-Men series. He did a great job. He also was in Les Mis. I think he did a great job there. And he was also in The Prestige, which I loved him in The Prestige. So yeah, Hugh Jackman is just an amazing actor, and he is one of my favorites. Now, coming in at number 22 is Ray Liotta. Of course, he played Henry Hill in Goodfellas. I thought he did an amazing job. He also played Shoeless Joe Jackson in Field of Dreams. I thought he did an amazing job as well. And yeah, I just think I just think Ray Liotta was extremely underrated. I thought he was just an amazing actor, and he's my number 22 favorite. And coming in at number 21, just missing out on the top 20, is James Earl Jones. Of course, he played the voice of Darth Vader in the Star Wars franchise. He was also in The Sandlot. He was also in Field of Dreams. And he was in Lion King as well as Mufasa. And yeah, James Earl Jones, I just think is an amazing actor. Obviously his voice as Darth Vader is iconic. So yeah, James Earl Jones is one of my favorites. Now the top 20, coming in at number 20, is Ben Affleck, who is my favorite actor that has played Batman. He isn't like my favorite Batman interpretation, but in terms of the actors who've played Batman, he is my favorite actor overall. Of course, he played Batman in the DCEU, which even though a lot of people don't like him, I still really like him as Batman. Of course, he was also in movies like Good Will Hunting and Air. The film that really cemented his spot on my favorites list is The Town. I thought he was incredible in The Town, and I thought his acting was just amazing, and I also think he's just a great director overall too. So yeah, Ben Affleck has become one of my favorites. Number 19, Clint Eastwood. Of course, he played the man with no name in the Fistful of Dollars trilogy. Of course, he did a great job. I also loved him a lot in Unforgiven, and that is actually probably my favorite of his. And I just think Clint Eastwood's an amazing actor, and I would say he has definitely become one of my favorites overall. Now, coming in at number 18 is Russell Crowe. I first saw him as Jor-El in Man of Steel. I thought he did a pretty decent job. But after seeing movies like A Beautiful Mind, The Insider, Gladiator, and Les Mis, he became one of my favorites. And yeah, Russell Crowe is just an amazing actor, and he is one of my 20 favorites at number 18. Number 17 is Jamie Foxx. Now, I first saw him as Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I didn't love the movie, but I thought Electro was decent. But after No Way Home, Electro was obviously a lot better. And then I did see him in Soul, which I didn't really like the movie that much, but I thought he did a good job. But the two movies that cemented his spot in this list are his roles in Collateral and Django Unchained. He was just amazing in both movies, and he just played amazing characters, and he has definitely become one of my favorites, and he is number 17. Number 16 is Bruce Willis. Now, of course, he played John McClane in Die Hard. He did an amazing job. He was also in Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, and Pulp Fiction, and he did an amazing job in those movies as well. And yeah, overall, Bruce Willis is just a great actor, and he is one of my favorites. So he is number 16. Now, the top 15, number 15 is Arnold. Now, the first movie I saw him in was Batman and Robin. Of course, it's a terrible movie. However, I thought Arnold was definitely the best part of the movie as Mr. Freeze. But then, after seeing movies like, obviously, the Terminator franchise, where he was just incredible, seeing movies like True Lies, Predator, and Kindergarten Cop, he has become one of my favorites. I just think he's very funny, and I just think he's an amazing action star. And I also do think he is still a legit actor. So yeah, Arnold is one of my 15 favorite actors, and he is number 15. Number 14 is Matt Damon. Now, the first movie I saw him in was Good Will Hunting. I thought he did a great job. And then that same week, and I believe I also saw him in Air. I also thought he did a great job. And then he was in movies like Oppenheimer. He was in Ocean's 11. He was in Interstellar. But my favorite movie with him in it was The Departed. That movie was just incredible. And Matt Damon's performance was just incredible as well. So yeah, Matt Damon is one of my favorite actors, and he is number 14. Number 13 is Keanu Reeves. Now, the first movie I saw him in was Toy Story 4, which I do like more than most people. But obviously, he wasn't like the best part of the movie, but he was solid. But then I saw the Bill and Ted trilogy, and I absolutely fell in love with Keanu Reeves. And then obviously seeing movies like The Matrix and the John Wick franchise, and even Point Break. I mean, I could safely say Keanu Reeves is now one of my favorite actors. And yeah, I mean, I think he's just a great action star. By the way, he also played Shadows in Sonic, and I thought he did a great job as well. So yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves, I just think is a great action star, and he also seems like a genuinely great dude. So yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves is an actor who I would say I've fallen in love with, and he is my number 14, or he's my number 13 overall. But coming in at number 12 is Tom Hanks. Now, Tom Hanks is definitely one of the actors I grew up with. Of course, he played Woody in the Toy Story franchise. He did a great job. He was also in movies like Big. He was in um, Forrest Gump, which I thought he did a great job. He was also in Apollo 13, and I really liked him a lot in Elvis, even though I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of him in Elvis. But the two movies that really cemented his spot in my top 15 were Catch Me If You Can and The Green Mile. Those movies were just amazing, and Tom Hanks was great in it. And I also loved him a lot in Bridge of Spies, which actually I think I like that more than Catch Me If You Can. But I liked Tom Hanks a little more in Catch Me If You Can than I did in Bridge of Spies. But I like Bridge of Spies a little more as a movie. But I mean, anyways, though, those movies were all amazing, though. And yeah, Tom Hanks has become one of my favorite actors, and he is number 12. Now coming in at number 11 for my favorite actor, just missing out of the top 10, is Edward Norton. Now, I first saw him as Hulk in Incredible Hulk. I didn't love the movie. However, I did like Edward Norton a lot in that. However, after seeing movies like Birdman, Glass Onion, Primal Fear, Fight Club, and what was that movie? A Complete Unknown. That movie was amazing as well. I mean, Edward Norton shooted to the top of the list, and he is now my number 11. I mean, especially his role in Fight Club and Primal Fear. Those movies were just amazing, and Edward Norton's performances were just off the charts. But I also loved him a lot in the other ones. Even Incredible Hulk. Like, I didn't love Incredible Hulk, but I still think Edward Norton did a good job overall as the Hulk. But yeah, I mean, Edward Norton's just an amazing actor, and he has become one of my favorites. Now, the top 10, number 10, is Al Pacino. I mean, Al Pacino is just one of the classic actors. It's hard not to love Al Pacino. Obviously, he was in The Godfather. He did a great job. He was also in movies like Insomnia, and he was also in Heat, which is my personal favorite of his. I mean, Al Pacino. He's just an amazing actor. I don't really know what else there is to say. By the way, he was also in The Insiders, which I almost completely forgot, but I mean, he was amazing in The Insider. I mean, Al Pacino, he's just an amazing actor, and he is definitely one of my favorites. And fun fact, he also once spoke at my school, and I thought that was really cool. So yeah, Al Pacino is one of my favorites, and he is number 10. Now coming in at number 9 is Robert Downey Jr. Now, there was a point in time where he was my favorite, but over time, there are a few actors I like more. That doesn't change the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is still definitely one of my favorite actors. Of course, he played Iron Man in the MCU. He did a great job. He was also in movies like Tropic Thunder. He was in Back to School. He did a great job in Oppenheimer. And he was in Sherlock Holmes. And I loved him a lot in Zodiac. I thought he was great in that too. So, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is one of my favorites, and he is number 9. Number 8. Now, coming in at number 8 is Joe Pesci. Now, Joe Pesci is just one of the funniest actors of his time. Of course, he played the bandits in Home Alone, which, I mean, they are just so hilarious. And yeah, Joe Pesci just did a great job. I loved him a lot in My Cousin Vinny as a goofball as well. However, he was also in serious roles, and he always delivers. I mean, of course, he won an Oscar for Goodfellas. I mean, he was just amazing in Goodfellas. And my favorite performance of his is actually Raging Bull, which, even though Goodfellas is my favorite movie with him in it, I actually liked his performance in Raging Bull more. I just thought that performance was amazing. But yeah, I mean, Raging Bull and Goodfellas are definitely the ones that cement him this high. I mean, those are just amazing movies with just amazing acting across the board. And yeah, I mean, Joe Pesci, I also just think he's a lot of fun. So yeah, he is definitely one of my favorites, and I just think he's an amazing actor overall. Now, coming in at number 7 is Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, the first movie I saw him in was Inception, and it's safe to say he definitely left a mark. and definitely made me want to watch more of his films. So I also watched films like Titanic. I watched films like Catch Me If You Can. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon in theaters. Obviously, I love those movies as well. And the movies, though, that completely cemented him as one of my 10 favorites are The Departed, which I just love that movie, and I just thought his performance was amazing, and The Wolf of Wall Street, which is just an amazing movie as well. So yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is an amazing actor, and he is my number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Morgan Freeman. Now, the first movie I saw him in was The Dark Knight as Lucius Fox. Obviously, he did a great job, but obviously, after seeing movies like Seven, The Shawshank Redemption, and Unforgiven, he completely skyrocketed to become one of my favorite actors. I mean, his performance in all 3 movies were just amazing, and I mean, those movies are just amazing movies as well. So yeah, Morgan Freeman is an amazing actor, and he is one of my 7 favorites, or he is one of my 6 favorites. So yeah, he is my number 6. Top 5, number 5, Jack Nicholson. The first movie I saw him in was Batman '89 as the Joker. He definitely left a mark and definitely made me want to watch more of his films. So then I watched movies like A Few Good Men. He was excellent in that as well. But obviously the 3 movies, though, that completely cement him as one of my 5 favorites were One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Departed, and The Shining. I mean, his performance in all 3 was just so amazing. I mean, Jack Nicholson's just an amazing actor, and he is my number 5. Number 4 is Brad Pitt. Now, the first movie I saw Brad Pitt in was Moneyball. And, yeah, I think he did a great job. But then I also saw Bullet Train a few years later, and I loved him in that as well. So then I went back to watch some of his old films. And, I mean, his performance in Fight Club was just amazing. Fight Club is just an amazing movie, and Brad Pitt's just amazing in it. He was also amazing in Seven. He was also amazing in Ocean's 11. And just recently, he was amazing in F1. I mean, yeah, Brad Pitt's just an amazing actor, and he is my number 4 overall. So, we have made it to the top 3. And this is a really close battle between the top 3. But coming in at number 3 is Robert De Niro. The first movie I ever saw him in was Heat. I mean, he was just amazing in Heat as the villain. He was also amazing in Killers of the Flower Moon, in Raging Bull, in Goodfellas, in Silver Linings Playbook. I mean, Robert De Niro is just an amazing actor. He is definitely one of the best actors ever. And he is definitely, without a shred of a doubt, one of my favorites. So yeah, Robert De Niro is just an amazing actor, and he is my number 3. Now, coming in at number 2 is Harrison Ford. Now, obviously, the first movie I saw him in was Star Wars as Han Solo. He obviously did a great job. And even though I'll admit I've always been a little bit more of a Luke Skywalker guy, I still love Han Solo a lot. Of course, he also played Indiana Jones. He was also in movies like 42, Witness, The Fugitive, Air Force One, Blade Runner, and just recently he was in Brave New World, which even though I didn't love Brave New World, I thought Harrison Ford did a great job in it. So yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford's just an amazing actor. He's amazing in everything he's in, and he is one of my favorite actors, and he's my number 2 favorite actor. Now, coming in at number 1 is Tom Cruise. Now, obviously, he played Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible. Of course, he was amazing in that. He was also Maverick in the Top Gun series. He was amazing in that. However, he's also amazing when it comes to dramatic roles. He played Vincent in Collateral, which he was amazing in that. He was also in Tropic Thunder, Minority Report, A Few Good Men, Jerry Maguire, and Rain Man. And his performances were amazing in that. He was also great in Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, Tom Cruise has literally just done everything. He is a complete actor. He's amazing at everything. And he is my favorite actor of all time. Now, those are my top 50 favorite actors. And I am about to now do my top 50 favorite actors / actresses based on how I think their acting abilities are. So thanks for watching this video. And now we're moving on to the next segment.